Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Triple T podcast. Thank you all for joining me today. I have got a good show planned for you all. It's going to be full of ups, full of downs. It's going to be probably the best podcast that I have done. So stick with me. Right after this, we'll get right into it. So what do you all think of the new logo? Give me a thumbs up if you like the new logo. Whenever I get some more hats done, whenever I start getting t-shirts done and stuff like that, get some merch going, that's going to be what's on it. I love the logo. So yeah, let's jump right into it. I've been on Deercation all week. Well, not all week, since Tuesday. Tuesday I got in there, or Monday I got in there right after work and put some feed out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to move my stand. I'm going to move it to a different location because all the deer that I'm seeing now are coming from my left. They're too close. They're too far away. I need to move my stand. So I moved my stand and got it set up. I found a tree just big enough to put a hang-on stand in, and I set it up there, got everything set up, got everything ready to go, got everything mounted. I'm like, all right, this is going to be the stand right here. This is where it's going to happen at. Got up there Tuesday morning. I've been going in a little bit later in the mornings because I'm like, you know what? Rut is here. It's like post pre-rut is what I want to call it. And so I got everything set up, and I go in there, and I'm in there probably around 7:30 in the morning, and I knew that the deer probably wasn't going to start moving until later on in the morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm here. And so I'm doing pretty much all day sets. I'm sitting from 7:30 until dark, every day. Well, the first day I set up there, I was up there for a couple of hours, and my back got to killing me. Granted, where I'm at, the trees aren't the best. They are tiny, long, little trees. Like whenever I say tiny, I mean they're like 6-7 inches in diameter around. They're not great trees to sit in. But in this particular area, they're the only trees to sit in. But I found the biggest tree I could, which is probably, 16 inches in diameter, maybe. So this is the best tree that I could find, so that's where I'm sitting. I'm further away from where I was sitting at, and I figured this tree right here would be the good tree. So as I'm sitting there, I'm looking around, I'm like, I need to trim some limbs in front of me, and they're on a sapling right in front of me. The sapling's probably about 6 inches around at the base and probably 15 feet, 20 feet high. I mean, it's a sapling, but it's pretty much like a tree. You can't climb it. I fell out of it that afternoon trying to trim the limbs out. So I've been taking my lunch, taking drinks, taking snacks, so I can do all day sets. Well, as I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I've got to do something about that tree. I have to do something about that tree. And I couldn't get that thing out of my head. And I worried about it and brooded over it and stuff like that. But I just kept sitting there. Now, I do have a shot sitting down right in front of me. Now, if it's off to my left, I got a shot standing up, sitting down. It didn't matter. But if it's right in front of me, I had to be sitting down. And personally, I like taking my shot standing up. Of course, we all know if we've deer hunted long enough, not everything goes as planned. So I'm sitting there the first day, and very quiet. And the wind's blowing. The wind has been out of the east all week long. Even today, like today's Friday, and the wind is still out of the east. It's been out of the east all day long. And as I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure it out, trying to figure everything out. What if a deer comes in from over here? What if a deer comes in from over here? My back's starting to hurt, so I'm like, I got to stretch my back out. I'm not seeing no action. So I sit down on the platform and just lean back in the stand. I'm like, oh my goodness, that felt so much better. Me being an idiot, I took out my grunt call and I started grunting a little bit. And I'll tell you the rest after this break. Y'all, let me tell you about one of the best mechanics in the business. Corey with Car Doctor 2 has a group of guys that'll change your tire, that will work on your motor, put you a brand new motor in, transmission, front end, it does not matter. Paint, body work, whatever you can think of. And don't forget, he has broadheads and he will ship within the continental U.S. They are $5 a piece. Give myself or Corey a holler and we'll get you set up. I highly recommend these broadheads. So I'm sitting there all comfortable, high and mighty in my deer stand, or I should say low and mighty, I guess, and just grunted a little bit, and all of a sudden I heard walking, and I just knew this was going to happen. I knew a deer was going to pop out, because number one, I'm away from my bow. Well, not really away from it, I can still reach it, but number two, I'm in the weirdest position ever. So I'm sitting there, and I heard it walking. I'm like, here comes a daggum deer. I turned my head, and right there was a buck standing there at 10 yards away. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. A dadgum buck. And he seen me, and he took off. Luckily, he was just a young 8-point. I did get a good look at him. He was just a young 8-point, and he looked at me, took off, no big deal. I don't even think he snorted. He might have. I can't remember. So I'm sitting there in the stand rest of the day, and I hear walking again coming from on top of the ridge. That's right in front of me. And some real light. I was like, well, I'll be dang. Here comes some turkeys. And sit there, and 20 turkeys stepped out right in front of me. Ranging from 20 yards all the way to probably 40 or 50. I got some brush right there in front of me, so I really can't see real far, but I mean, they were just all over the place. And so they finally wandered off. That's the end of day one. Day two rolls around. I'm sitting there in my stand, not seeing nothing. And this went on all day long. I did not see one deer while sitting in the stand. And I'm getting a little bit aggravated at this point. I'm in the best place to deer hunt, in my opinion. For all the places that I have ever deer hunted, this is by far my favorite place I have ever had the privilege to deer hunt. And so I'm sitting there and getting right about dark, still not seeing nothing at all. And all of a sudden, about 5 o'clock, I hear, gosh, dang it. And I know they didn't see me. I know they didn't smell me. I mean, they was in a cedar thicket. While I'm sitting there looking through, like, what's going on, looking through all these trees trying to find out what's going on, I hear this. And I'm like, oh crap, there's a deer coming. So I grab my bow and I'm getting ready. I put my my release on, the D-loop, and I'm getting ready. I'm like, all right, where's this deer at? It's getting really close to dark, by the way. No camera light to film. And then I hear it. What the crap? And I finally seen it. A 250 plus pound wild, I gotta say it, Arkansas Razorback was standing right in front of me at 35 yards. I knew it was 35 yards because where I was sitting at, I'm like, right there he is, and I can't get a shot at him because it is through some brush. And so I'm hoping he comes up to the rice brand, but all of a sudden I hear this loud crash on top of the ridge, and it just took off. And I did not know this, but it sounded like the pig was snorting like a deer. Of course, it's not as loud and not as, it was just a faint, like, it just sounded so weird. I thought it was really cool. I've never heard that or seen that or whatever. And this is Wednesday, by the way. And so I just thought that was really cool. I took my good broadhead off, and I was putting on one of my old broadheads. and because I was going to shoot it, I was going to put it right there in the pump house, but that crash just scared him off, and I was not getting out of that tree with that pig sitting there, and so that was my Thursday or my Wednesday. Thursday rolls around, and I'll tell you about it right after this. If you're looking for a place to get your mounts done, look no further than Mountain Home, Arkansas, home of Jeremiah, Judd, and Judd's Taxidermy. One of the best taxidermists in the business. He can do European mounts, shoulder mounts, life-size mounts. It does not matter. Fish, he is one of the best in the business. He's an award-winning taxidermist, and the mounts look so good you'll want to shoot them or catch them again. Tell Jeremiah that Travis with Triple TV sent you. So now we're on to Thursday. And I get set up there. I'm a little bit earlier, I should say. I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I get in just a tad earlier, I might have better luck. So I got set up in the deer stand, sitting up there, got everything set up, and I'm not seeing much of anything. I'm seeing a couple of squirrels, crow, normal wood stuff. The wind was not that bad Thursday morning. Not bad at all. And as I'm sitting there, it's probably about 11 o'clock maybe, I hear red, 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 red. And I'm like, oh boy. So I pulled out the grunt call and start grunting. And as I'm grunting, I put it back down, and I look over, down below me, I see a deer. And then it comes out. I'm like, all right, sweet. And I get to looking at him. I put my binoculars up, and I'll be dadgum if it's not that dadgum spike I had been seen and seen and seen. He's got, how big, Smarties are, like whenever they're all in that roll. His horns are as big as a roll of Smarties. Tiny little spike. But you have got to be kidding me. So he kind of hung around there a little bit. I can't believe he actually came in for a fight, being as small as he was. He's just a little idiot. And so he finally walked off, and I eat my lunch, and sitting there, minding my own business, nothing's going on, nothing's coming in, and then 4 o'clock hits. All of a sudden, the wind's, like I said, blowing out of the east, and it's blowing pretty good, but I can kind of hear something running up on the ridge right in front of me. Just I'm like, there's a deer, there's a deer, there's a deer. They're chasing. Pull out my grunt call, and I blew on it a couple times, and then I didn't hear the chasing no more. I look down, I see a deer walking. I'm like, there's a deer. I seen that. I could just see the body. I'm like, the body looks awesome. Like, that's a big deer right there. Then he walks out. No time to get the camera on him. Nothing. The wind is blowing right in his face. No time. His head is behind. I could see that it was a good buck. I didn't know how good he was, but I could see that he was a good buck. And his head was right behind a cedar tree. I just did not have time to mess with the camera. So I put my release on my D-loop, draw back, sitting there, waiting on him to come out, quartered hard to me, and he walks out at 22 yards. I put that 20-yard pin just a little bit above his shoulder, and I released that arrow, and that joker just took off like he got shot out of a cannon. Holy crap, I cannot believe I just shot that deer. I know that I made a good shot on him. I thought I seen the arrow hit, and I thought it was a good shot. I knew in my heart it was a good shot. So I make some phone calls, call my wife first. She didn't answer. She took one of my stepsons to the ear doctor, so she didn't really have her phone handy. And so I'm calling my father-in-law. Hey, I just think I just smoked, the biggest buck. At the time, I thought he was a different deer. I just shot the biggest buck of my life, even bigger than the 10-point I killed last year. So excited. Call Corey, Car Doctor 2. He is one of my best friends. I called him and told him about it. He goes, man, get down, go look for him, take your time, and stuff. And, Where'd you hit him at? You sure you hit him good? Yeah, man, I got him. I called my mom. I gave him a good 45 minutes or so. So I finally get my composure back to me. Get down, go look at the arrow, complete pass through. Arrow's covered in blood. I have got a good blood trail going. And sent pictures to Corey, the blood trail, and was like, man, these broadheads tear them up. And so I walk, follow the blood trail, and then it hits sage grass. And once it gets in grass, I do not do good at all. If it's on leaves, I'm fine. In grass, I'm not good at all. So I'm trying to call my buddy. I'm like, man, I need some help. Where I'm hunting at, I call him. Man, I need some help. I can't get a hold of him. And I texted him. I told him I just shot a big buck. And he never texted me back. So I go looking for him. And then I'm like, well, I can't get a hold of him. I can't get a hold of nobody. My phone's dying. Excuse me. My phone's dying. I'm going to have to get a dog out here. So I start praying, Lord, please help me find this deer. Please help me find this deer. So I start heading towards the truck. As I'm starting to walk up that hill, I look behind the cedar tree, and right there he is, laying dead. I'm like, oh my God, I just found him. He ran down the hill. He probably went about 45 yards. He ran down the hill and cut a hard right, and he died right behind the cedar tree. And it wasn't the buck that I was thinking of. I got Tank, that big-bodied 8-point. He didn't have much for horns. If I remember, I just measured. He's like 14 inches outside spread. He's like 16 inches inside. I mean, he's got really short tines. His tines is like 3. I think the longest. I think his G2 was like 4 and something. But he's an old deer. He ran that big 8-point off that I was wanting to kill, and just a giant. This hunt will be a hunt that I'll remember. I got a lot of history, months of history with this deer. Got him on camera every day, every night. Well, not every day, but every night. He was coming in earlier, and then I started hunting the ranch. And the last time I checked my camera, he wasn't even on it anymore. And boom, right there he was, about a mile and a half from where I got pictures of him. I just could not believe this deer. I was so excited. He wasn't my biggest horn-wise, but he is by far my biggest body-wise. I guarantee you I probably got 60 pounds of meat off this deer, if not more. So big, such a big animal. And got him drug out, got him cleaned up, and going to do a European mount on him. I just couldn't be happier. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this story. It's been a heck of a week. Tomorrow, this weekend, is the first gun hunts of the year. Well, I should say muzzleloaders, so second. But Modern Gun is coming up next weekend. This weekend is youth season. I'm taking my oldest stepson, Caden. I'm taking him to his Nana and Poppy's. And my youngest stepson, or not my youngest, but his brother, Gage, will be sitting with his dad. Caden will be sitting with me. I'm going to be behind the camera. Caden's going to be the star of the show. So whenever we get that filmed, don't forget to check that out. Check out my other podcasts and videos that I previously put on. Y'all don't forget to subscribe and share to Triple TV. We are 66 subscribers away from a giveaway, hat or t-shirt. Give my video a thumbs up if you like the new logo. Hope you all enjoyed the story. It was a lot of fun. It's been a heck of a week. So thank you all for listening. Check out my previous videos, previous podcasts, and I'll see you all on the next one.